What's up YouTube, Dar here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing you an incredibly spicy update and first physical profile for the channel for Labyrinth. Now this version of Labyrinth is going to be unlike anything you've seen before. It's got a competitive edge, it's got a spicy edge, it's got a draw 7 edge, and we're going to take you through everything you need to know about this deck. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So, we start off with two of the lovely Labyrinths. So this one is your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to the activation of your normal trap cards. Very nice and protective. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You get to target a normal trap card in your graveyard and set it to your field, but it cannot be activated unless you control a fiend monster. If another monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect, you get to destroy one card in your opponent's hand at random or one on their field. Non-target. Really, really nice. We've then got two Ariana and two Ariane. Now, Ariana is if this card is normal or special, you get to add a Labyrinth card from your deck to the hand except itself. If another monster or monsters leaves the field via a normal trap effect, specifically your trap effect, you get to draw one card and then apply the following effect. From your hand, either special summon one fiend monster or set one spell and trap. You can only activate one effect per turn. You can only use one effect per turn. Now, it's a little bit of a shame that you can't activate the card you set the turn through that effect, because that would have been really, really cool. Ariane has pretty much a similar effect, but you can send a normal trap card from your hand or that is set on the field to the graveyard to special summon one level 4 or lower fiend monster from your deck in defense position, so she will get out the green, and then you'll be able to trigger the green effect as well. If another monster or monsters leaves the field via your normal trap effect, you get to draw a card and then you can apply the effect. From your hand, either special summon a fiend monster or set a spell or trap. You can only use each effect once per turn. So whereas the first one is you can only use one effect, meaning you can either use its normal summon effect or its draw and special effect, this one you can use both one at a time. As it is a fiend-based deck, we are running triple of the absolute backjack. This card's incredibly good in this deck for the pure fact that it revolves around normal traps as well. So during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you get to banish this card from the graveyard to excavate the top card of your deck. If it is a normal trap card, set it on your field, otherwise send it to the graveyard. That set card can be activated during this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and then place them in any order. So this basically allows you to set up its second effect. Now there is something I probably would want to put into the extra deck, and that will be like link 1s or level 1s for link 1s, so that I can turn a backjack into a link and then trigger its effect. But the idea is that I want my normal summons to be these two, not this one. Then we move on to the Labyrinth rares. So we've got the one Stove. So quick effect, you get to send this card from the hand or field to the ground and discard one card. To set a Labyrinth spell or trap from your hand or deck. If a monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect, while this card is in the graveyard except during a damage step, you get to special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field, and you can only use each effect once per turn. We've then got two Chandelier, so quick effect, send this card and one other card from the field or graveyard to the hand and discard a card basically, to set a Labyrinth spell or trap from your hand or deck. If a monster or monsters leaves the field by your normal trap effect while this card is in the graveyard, except during damage step, you get to add it back to your hand. And then my favourite one, but it gets better in the future when we get the new support, is the Cuckoo Clock. Quick effect, you discard this card. This turn you can activate one normal trap card the turn it was set, if you control a Labyrinth monster. If a card or cards is sent from the hand to the graveyard to activate your normal trap card or your Labyrinth card or effect, except itself while this card is in the graveyard, and except during a damage step, you get to add it back to your hand or special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So what makes this so good is we do actually play a lot of traps that basically make you discard cards in order to activate them. There's a difference between cost and an activation as well, so you need to be very specific on that as the way you build it. The last of the Labyrinth's like spells, before I show you the branded package, is the 2 Labyrinth. If you activate a set Welcome Labyrinth, like why couldn't it just be if you activate a set Labyrinth trap, you can add this additional effect after resolution. After that, destroy 1 card on the field. If you activate a non-Labyrinth normal trap card except during damage step, you get to special on a Fiend monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So pretty standard on that one. The new support makes this deck so much better, but for now I am spicing up with what I can. And part of that spice is a small branded Despia engine of 2 Albaz, 1 Aluba, 1 Tragedy, 1 Snow, with triple branded fusion, 1 of the field spell, and 1 branded banishment. Now, the reason that this works so well is because it also combos off with the second engine that I'm putting in this deck, and that is the Slifer package. So thanks to the Megatins, we were able to get the revived Sky God, which allows you to revive Slifer from the graveyard, and then both players draw until they have 6 cards. So if you go first, you can set your entire back row, you'll be sitting on a fusion monster, and then you're able to go, you know what? I would like to draw 6, please. And because your opponent draws for turn, they will already have 6 cards in their hand. So unless they can empty their hand out on the chain of this resolution, there is no way that they're going to be able to get any advantage off it whatsoever. On top of that, you get a 6k boss monster in defense that you can then also protect. Now, keep in mind that Welcome Labyrinth locks you out of special summoning non-fiend monsters from the extra deck or deck. It does not stop you from going into the graveyard or coming back out of the graveyard itself or the hand. So you are pretty much free and good to run riot with exactly what you have there. On top of that as well, if it wasn't enough, you also get the ability to banish it from the graveyard to put a Monster Reborn from your graveyard and or deck on top of the deck, and then draw 1 card, which lets you draw into the Monster Reborn. And the reason that's so important is you draw into the Monster Reborn, you draw for turn, you've got 8 cards in your hand, you activate Monster Reborn, you bring back Slifer the Sky Dragon, your Slifer the Sky Dragon is now a 7,000 beta, so you then just have a very easy route to push for game. Moving on to the trap cards, as it is a trap-based deck as well, we are playing the following. So I didn't also mention as well, the branded package helps you get Slifer to the graveyard, and then the Labyrinth package is helping you get to the Sky God trap. So how do you get to the Sky God trap and all of your other normal traps? Well, we are playing 2 Trap Trick. Now, the reason we're playing this is just for consistency. You could play 3s of each, or at least 3 of the Sky God and 3 of the others. But the way I saw it is I'd rather have Trap Trick, because then it unlocks the opportunity to have some or one or the others. So it's like if I've already got Sky God and I want Compulse, I can get to Compulse. If I've already got Compulse but I want a Banish, I can get into Karma Cut. If I want to pop and Ascend, I can get into the Ghastly Glitch. Like, it just unlocks more potential. The only issue you have with it is when you activate it, you can only activate 1 more trap that turn, so you need to make sure that it is like the penultimate thing you activate in order to kind of set everything up that you need. We are playing 2 Ghastly Glitch. Why is this card not called a Labyrinth card? So if you control a Fiend monster, you get to target a card on the field, destroy it, and then you get to send a Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard. So again, that's how you get Backjack to the graveyard. That's how you're then able to trigger the Backjack effect to get a bit of advantage, and hopefully excavate a trap card that's going to be able to either bounce a board, banish a board, or summon from the deck. We've then got 2 Welcome Labyrinth. So you get to special summon a Labyrinth monster from your deck, and until the end of the next turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck or deck except Fiend monsters. If a monster leaves the field by your normal trap effect while this card is in the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you get to set this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. Now again, I'm not playing Punishment in this deck because I do still want to access the extra deck. Locking into fusions is not the end of the world, because the idea is you get to do that first, you set up your Slifer play, you draw 6, you're then able to go off the next turn, build up your board while you've controlled your opponent, and pretty much push for an OTK. So the other traps I am playing is double Ice Dragon Prison, double Karma Cut, and double Compulse. If you're not a fan of Karma Cut, you can of course use Dynamiscus. I quite like the idea. Yes, I need to discard to target, but it does allow me to banish from the field and the graveyard, which is really, really good when you look at tier elements. It basically counts as a form of stopping the fuse. So for example, if they were to go normal summon Kick Kalos effect to send a monster, you could then chain Karma Cut, discard a card, target the Kick Kalos, banish the Kick Kalos, and straight away they then don't get the second effect in order to try and mill cards as well. Or a better example would be if they activate or normal summon Meryl, excavate top 3 cards, and let's say they hit a Meryl, you could chain Karma Cut, target the Meryl, and then it will let you banish the Meryl from the field and the one from the graveyard. So that also works as well if Shiren mills itself, if Havnis mills itself, everything like that, because they need to spin back the exact cards. Compulse is probably the one that you might argue that I personally might consider to take out, but it's just for making sure that you replace it for either third copies of the rest of these cards, or you take it out for a card that's going to be just as effective. This is just quite nice against the cards that are like, well, Mirror Jade and Kaleido Heart, that if they're sent to the graveyard, they're either going to come back or they're going to nuke your board. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. This is probably my favourite part of the entire extra deck, and it's the fact that we get to play DDDs in the extra deck. So we are playing the Wave King Caesar, the Marksman King Tail, and the Deuce Machina. Now the reason that this is so good is that this one requires 2 level 4 Fiends, so you can XYZ into this, you can then rank on top onto King, and you're obviously going to have 2 materials below it, and then you can rank on top into the Mechana, meaning that if your opponent activates 3 monster effects, you get to steal all 3. So they activate a monster effect on the field, you detach the 2 original materials, you take control of it. They activate another monster effect, you go, cool, detach these 2 materials, take control of it. You then also, if they activate another one, because you've got the 2 monsters you've just stolen, you get to detach 2, take control of it. So you are taking away 3 of their resources, and you get a nice 3k boss monster. Absolutely love it. For the other Fiend monsters we play in the extra deck, or the rank 4s, is Baguska. Yes, it's a Fiend. Daenerys, pretty straightforward on that one. Evil Swarm Nightmare, just 2 availabilities for Book of Moon could be very, very important. Exaton Knight is kind of like our alternative to Zeus, because there will be times when you're locked into Fiends and you want to make sure you don't get a game loss or a warning. So going into Evil Swarm Exaton, because it is a Fiend, just takes away a little bit of pressure. Cowboy, because games are very, very grindy nowadays, that you do pretty much need either an option in the main deck or an option in the side deck or extra deck to win in time. For the branded cards, we've got the one Lubellion. Obviously, the idea behind this is, well, the first thing you want to do is you activate Branded Fusion if you haven't got a way to discard the Slifer. Activate Branded Fusion, go into your Brigade the Glory Dragon. Doesn't really do too much, but it does protect your... it can't be destroyed by battle, and it also means your opponent cannot target other monsters you control with monster effects, so it does protect some of your Fiend monsters as well. And then once you've done all that on the next turn, you've then got the ability to go into Lubellion, which will trigger off the Despia engine, which will give you the field spell. And even if you're locked into Fiends, you then have the ability to, surprise, surprise, go into some other spicy fusions, which I'll show you in a minute. Albion and Mirror Jade, all pretty straightforward and simple on that. So then the monsters that are also Fiends as well, which is why the Despia package is in here, is you've got access to Quintarius and Double Masquerade. So obviously off the back of this, you do have the ability to get into these through Branded Banishment. You have the ability to get into Mirror Jade through Branded Banishment. You could also put in a Dracus Depelia, because you'll have access to get into that through Branded Banishment. And the Banishment just kind of has a little bit of extra synergy. That's like, well, your opponent wants all their stuff sent to the graveyard. We're going to start banishing them instead. There are still a few little kinks to work out in the deck. It's just something that when the new Slifer card dropped, I was like, yo, this is insane. I know a deck that can utilise this quite well in the form of the Labyrinths. Now, if you're like, I don't want to play Branded, I don't want to play the Slifer, you go, okay, cool, take that out. That's nearly like 15 cards out. You can put more control cards in if you want to and work it from there. It's a little bit difficult to just go, well, I don't want to play Branded, but I still want to play Slifer, because then you need to have a way of consistently getting Slifer to the graveyard, and then a way to consistently get to the revived Sky God as well. So it's entirely up to you and your play style. I like it. I like the way it works. I like the way it operates. And I can't wait for the new support for the Labyrinths, which is why I wanted to pick this stuff up while I could. Anyway, Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. If you do have any questions at all, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But as absolutely always, guys, stay safe and of course, happy dueling.